Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Bleav in Iowa. Brady Beedon alongside former Hawkeye tight end Dominique Dafney. Logan Blackman a bit under the weather today, and unfortunately for him, because it is a very happy recap Monday as Iowa went to Piscataway and took on the State University of New Jersey Rutgers Scarlet Knights and come away with a 38-28 victory. And Dom, I'm just going to start with this. Mark Gronowski looked like a dude that had his swagger back, that realized I am that guy that can make those plays. And it led to some nice throws, some downfield throws, especially late in that game. And he is looking like the guy we were hoping he would be before the season. Just took a little confidence boost to get him back to where we wanted him to be.
Yeah, and obviously you could say that the little celebration he had at the end of the game where he's going up to the crowd and oh, I can't hear you now, that's the guy we were hoping for, like you said. And the offense played really well in that first half, which I think we all not were surprised, but just we're happy to see it. It's like this is what we've been asking for. This is what we've been seeing in the clips during camp. This is what we're seeing in his highlight reel from South State. So he definitely from wide and with his feet that he's the guy, and he came out to play. Um, and I think we when we talk about as a quarterback that confidence level is a tricky. We always talk about how quarterbacks are just weird individuals because they can be so up and down. They like things their own way. They're just interesting individuals, kind of like pitchers in baseball. Like they're kind of like they're in their own space. Sometimes they're in their own world. So when you talk about a confidence level with a quarterback, like that's the what really drives them. Having those throws, being able to connect with your receivers, being able to connect with your running backs, your tight ends, it's a confidence thing. It's a rhythm thing. So when you could see him kind of come out with a little bit of swagger and ready to play and kind of with the put the ball in my hands and let's go. That's what you want to see from your quarterback, and I'm just definitely happy to see that on Friday night.
So, and here's the thing. Was he unbelievably otherworldly? No. He was 12 of 18 for a buck 86. He didn't even throw for a touchdown in this game. Now, he ran for 3, which that's
Mhm.
part of his skill set. However, the thing I like is more than 10 yards an attempt. That
Yeah.
it wasn't 3-yard dink, 5-yard dunk, throw to the flat. He was testing Rutgers downfield, and I like what I saw from them. And the defense, they struggled a little early on. But you know what good teams do? When one side's struggling, the other side picks them up. Dom, if I would have told you on Friday morning, hey, Iowa would give up 21 first half points, you'd probably think what we're going to come back with a loss in this one.
Yeah. And I think that was one thing that was frustrating to watch was our defense not really playing like themselves. And really, I think that's been Iowa football's Achilles heel for years now as a dual threat quarterback. And to just see Kelly McManus kind of doing whatever he wanted to do with their read option and they couldn't really stop against strong whoever in the first half. It was kind of daunting and it was a little bit worrisome when I got into the second half, but the defense, did what they did and they came back strong in that second half and got stops and actually forced a turnover finally, which we love to see. And that was a great time to force a turnover and to come out and kind of put the game away. So definitely enjoyed seeing them kind of bounce back from that first half in the second half and just kind of play the Iowa defense that we're accustomed to. And I don't know if I would have believed you, to be honest, but I would have assumed that our defense and special teams were the ones who were going to handle it like they always do. But this time it was offense on our special teams. Obviously, with Caden Weege coming out and just house calling the first kick, I had a bunch of people texting me like, "Oh man, look at Iowa!" I'm like, "Oh, so now y'all want to watch Iowa football, huh?" That's crazy how that works. But definitely excited to see where this takes us and keep the ball rolling, keep this going. Don't let it just be one week. Like keep working, keep building on this momentum, and we could. What'd you say? 5-1. We get to Penn State. It's all
Five and
possible.
now we'll revisit that in a minute because I didn't think Indiana would
Well,
dump truck
yeah.
Illinois by to the tune of 53 points. That one, all right, we'll talk about that in a bit. But as far as the Weegan kickoff return, listen, I think he is a pretty darn good kick returner. he basically ran in a straight line. That was a schemed kickoff return.
Oh,
He
yeah.
didn't have to make anyone miss. He started at like the bottom of the numbers and he scored at the top of the numbers. He moved about this far off the off his path. So I'm going to give him credit for it, but yeah, the other 10 guys on KOR there really opened that hole for him.
I mean, yeah, when you have a great kickoff returner, all they need is a little bit of a block. You don't need to manhandle your guy. I remember when I was playing with Green Bay in 2020, we had Tavon Austin. I mean, we all know who that is as a returner and what he can do. And all he said is, "Hey, cover up your guy. I'll do the rest." And Caden Weege is the same. And this obviously, let's. I'm not saying
He's not
Caden Weege
Tavon
is
Austin. I don't
on
think
the
anyone's
team.
saying
Yeah,
you're saying
but when you have a great returner back there, I just need you to cover up your guy, and I'll do the rest. And that's really all it was. I don't need you to. I don't need 8 pancakes. I don't need you to run them off the sideline, take them back to the bus. Like I just need you to cover up your guy, and I'll do the rest. And that's really what it was. It's pretty simple. And you could see even on the punt return where he really wanted to take that back to the house. Yeah, he's able to create space. He's able to create 5 yards into 15 into 25. So he's a special returner for sure. And like I said a couple weeks ago, he's going to be someone that we lean on special teams and on offense. Someone that we can get the ball in his hands. He's going to be able to make plays. So it's just a small little adjustment that where it's like I just need you to cover guys up. That's all I need. I don't need you to do anything extra.
So Dom, tell me what you make of this because I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing. But again, this week, 8 different Iowa receivers brought in a pass. No one had more than 3, and that was Kamari Moulton out of the backfield, who was good to see him back and playing. But Mark Gronowski is, I don't know if it's because he doesn't have a rapport with a lot of these guys, so he doesn't have a target to lean on, or if that's just who he is. But it seems like every week, the list of guys that have a reception or a CVS receipt long, he hasn't found that one guy to go to. And again, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. You tell me, because we saw it in the Iowa State game. We saw it, heck, in the U Albany game. He threw it to just about everyone that stepped out on the field. Why is that? Again, not good or bad, more of a curiosity for me right now.
I think, well, first of all, part of it is because injuries, having our number one X in Vanderzee and having our number one tight end in Ostrenga out for, obviously, he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Vanderzee will eventually come back. Having that is just, it's going to be the reason why you see 8, 6, 7, 8 guys getting catches or getting a similar amount of catches. And the other reason is we need to figure out who our guys are. Our go-to guys, who's our number one X, who's our number one Z, and try to figure out what connections we can build and we can have with these players and with these receivers, and figure out who's the guy that we're going to look for when it comes to like week 10, week 11, and we need a catch on third down. So it's like, that's what we're trying to figure out. So yes, right now it's not that big of a deal, but obviously during the end of the year, when it's really, really appropriate and we really need somebody on third down when we're trying to figure out who we're going to get the ball to, that's when it's going to be a little bit more of, God, we need our guy. We need to be looking for our number one receiver. We need to be looking for our number one our target. So I think that's, right now, it's nothing to really be overly anxious about. But in the later parts of the season, we're definitely going to need to find who our number one guy is.
So is it as simple as when Vanderzee comes back, because he was a young guy last year that I think everyone was hoping would take that next step, or is he just going to be in the mix when he returns, hopefully sooner than later?
Well, I think as soon as you get him back, we need to get him in rhythm. So I don't know if it's feeding him 5, 10 times. It's definitely not going to be that. Like trying to feed him a bunch. It's just going to be, hey, get out, get your legs back under you, maybe get you a catch here and there. But I don't think we're going to get him back and essentially be like, all right, X post, X choice, X, like really be game planning to be like, okay, we got to get 15 the ball. We got to get him the ball and try to force it to him, because that's when you kind of mess up your rhythm as a quarterback and as an offense, when you're extremely trying to feed somebody and like we're forcing the ball to him, it kind of messes up everybody else's rhythm. So I don't assume that as soon as he gets back, we're going to expect him to have 7, 8 catches a game for 98 yards. We're going to feed him as much as we can. We're going to get his legs back under him, but when we get him back, it's definitely going to be only a positive. We're going to have him. We're going to have the receivers who have been making plays, and we're going to keep building this roster up to figure out who guys that we get later in the schedule.
So, all right, you alluded to it earlier. I said before this game that, hey, 5-1 going into Penn State. Again, did not expect Indiana to do what they did. However, this was what we needed because Rutgers, again, they'll probably be a bowl team. I think they'll win more than they lose. I think they have a pretty tough schedule, but I think they'll win more than they lose come the end of the season. Now, your toughest games are at home. You have Indiana at home, you have Penn State at home, you have Oregon at home, and you know what? I'll throw at USC in there as a big, big game. If you can find a way to win 3 out of 4 wins, will obviously get you in the playoff. I think 2 out of 4 puts you in the conversation because let's say you split. Let's just for fun say you beat Indiana and you beat USC, and your losses are to Iowa State on the road, to what will probably be a top 5 Penn State team, and what will probably be a top 5 Oregon team. If those aren't blowouts, that's the path for Iowa to the playoff. Now, if you can win 3 of the 4, you're in. And that's where Iowa wants to be. But it starts with at home against a Indiana team that, is feeling themselves. They just absolutely annihilated Illinois, who I was high on. I thought Illinois was going to be a playoff team. They still can be, but they were bringing back everyone on that team. And Kirk Cignetti brought him into town and belt to ass times 1,000 because that was never a game. Now you get them in Kinnick, a 3:30 kick or 2:30 kick local time, I should say, for Iowa. What are the feelings going into that game?
I mean, definitely would have been more confident had we not seen them absolutely dismantle Illinois like that and come out and play like that. But I agree with what you said. Try to if we could find a way to get two of those wins. Your 3 losses are to really good ranked opponents, and especially the way that the Big Ten is shaping up this year, where it's obviously, in my opinion, the best conference in football in the past 2-3 seasons. I think those aren't bad losses. Bad losses would be like we had last year at Michigan State losing, at UCLA losing. If we would have somehow found a way to lose this game, those are bad losses. When you lose against the best teams in the country, it's like, obviously they are very good. We saw what Indiana just did. They're a very good team. They're a very good outfit. So it's when you can play to the caliber of those teams, it gives you not only a better resume, but I think in the eyes of the voters is, well, if we put them in the college playoff, they're going to play. They're not going to come in and get smacked. I think that's what the fear is, especially when you think about not Notre Dame last year, but further back in the college football playoff, they weren't playing anything, and then the college playoff just getting smacked. Like, that's not what you want to see. You saw even Indiana last year, they were smacking everybody first game in the college football playoff. They didn't play well at all against finally a good opponent. So I think that's the thing that the committee is really trying to avoid is having these teams who are in 10, 11, 12 who are going to go in there and not compete. So when you compete against the Oregons, the Penn States, the Indianas, the USCs of the world, and you make it a tough game, I mean, you can't really knock us for losing those games. They're a very good team. They're one of the best teams in the country. So if we can go out there and handle our business and come away with a couple wins and make these games look closer than people are expecting, I think that is a good thing. I think that's obviously a different type of W than coming out. I feel like that just makes it look better as an Iowa football team. If you're able to play with the best teams in the country and stick with them and make these games close, then yeah, they belong in the 10, 11, 12 seed. And who knows what happens when you get us in the playoff.
So last week, the UMass win was kind of what the fan base needed, just in terms of off of a frustrating loss in the Cyhawk game. You come back, you just dominate UMass. I think everyone just needed to see that. This one made me go, okay, the offense might be actually for real. We might have something here in cooking. You win next week against Indiana, who's coming off a huge win. Now I think you start to get some national eyes on you, and people start to turn and go, okay, well, in 2 weeks, you can get Luke Fickell fired from Wisconsin, and then you got the Penn State game. I think this is one to say, all right, you win this one, you might have a little number next to your name in the next one, and you start to get some attention going, okay, maybe the Hawkeyes are figuring it out, but you have to beat Indiana. And let's be honest, Indiana, outside of when they've played Ohio State or Notre Dame, they just dump truck teams. That's what they've done. They either kind of get dump trucked or they absolutely rout a team. It's going to be a fun one. We'll talk about it later in the week, but the win at Rutgers gives me a little bit of confidence going into this one.
Yeah, and I think that, like you said, they kind of remind me of, what was that, the 2015 Golden State Warriors, where they're either beating teams by 70 or they're losing by like 30. So it's like the way that Indiana's playing is they're definitely, I don't want to say what is it, where they're like they're only good when they're in the lead and they're just like front runners. Yeah. I don't want to say they're front runners, but I mean the past 2 seasons that's kind of been their outfit. It was like, if they, as long as they're up by 21 points, that's the best team I've ever seen in my life. But when it gets sticky, it gets real sticky, and this team can't move the ball. And so, I mean, I think the message is out for what we need to do, and make this game as sticky as possible, make this game as Iowa as possible, and it gives us the best fighting chance. And the way that we looked on Friday, we were on the ball, running back and quarterback, our offensive line, we have a bunch of dogs on offensive line, and a bunch of mullet-haired,
it's what Kirk Ferentz
long. Does. I mean, it's always good to see. I think that's one thing that gets swept under the rug. But Iowa's offensive line is just always, it's a carousel of just dogs, and you love to see it. And the way they played on Friday, I think, was sending another message where they were just throwing people around and pancakes, and it was Iowa football at its finest. So when you have a great offensive line, the D line was coming to play in the second half, coming alive in the second half. The secondary is actually getting a little bit of a rhythm, a little bit of a momentum in that second half. We started to throw the ball well, and you got players like Weegan, like all these players who are coming back from injury. You got Kamari Moulton. When you have all this gumbo of special players, and players can make plays for out of nowhere, it's kind of dangerous, because now we don't know who to stop. Now we don't know what to game plan for, because we have to game plan for everything. And when you're talking about a defense, we're just trying to go off what they kind of do, what these looks, so we can get these reads, so we can play fast. But when you don't know where the ball's going, and you don't know how we're able to stop you, or we can't assume or guess what you're going to do, it makes it tough on a defense. So that's why I was, for weeks, begging that we get a pass game, because shoot, it adds another tab under our game plan of, now you can't stop us throwing the ball either. It makes it tough on a defense when they have no idea how to stop you. Usually it's put 8 in the box, and then we know they're going to run the ball. We're begging you to throw the ball. So now that we've shown that we can throw the ball a little bit better, it puts people on their heels a little bit. It's like, well, shoot, now we don't know what we're going to do. So that, I think, having all this stuff come together at the perfect time is what's going to be best for us when we start to play bigger and better opponents. So just happy to see that we're finally throwing the ball well, and hopefully it's going to make a lot easy for us.
All right, we'll dive into the Indiana game later in the week. When Logan returns, we'll talk Big Ten tomorrow. But Dom, I know it's just a win at Rutgers in the grand scheme of things, but it's the way they got the win that I am encouraged. Now you have to follow it up. Put your big boy pants on when the number 11 ranked team in the country comes to town.
Yeah, definitely. Don't let this be a one-time thing. Keep building off it. Keep riding this momentum. And just keep growing as an offense. I think we're showing a lot of consternation, a lot of motions, shifts, and stuff that really messes with the defense. I know I was literally watching the game, and I was getting asked, why are they shifting so much? Why are they?
That's what good offenses do.
That's what they do. You got to mess with the defense. We can't just line up and go anymore. That stuff doesn't work. Defenses are really good. They're really smart. They have defensive ends who run 4.3s. So we got to get these guys on their heels. I know the big thing in the NFL this year or this week was, I swear they had a show 45 talking about this push. And like the fact that they're going on 2 now or going on a double cadence or it's trying to get people on their heels. So you don't just assume what we're going to do. We're going on 2, we're shifting, we're motioning. So you don't know what we're going to do. And then it gets you thinking of that extra communication in the back end where they're trying to guess of what's coming and let alone, oh, we got a deep ball coming and they had no idea. So it's just a lot of the moving that we're doing and a lot of the motions and shifts and stuff. I think we got to keep doing that. We got to keep growing that game. And obviously there's going to be a time for line up and go when it's Iowa football. That's always going to happen. But we got to figure out, we got to keep continuing to grow on this offense that's starting to look a little bit more
like an
appropriate. Yeah, a little bit more like, ooh, this is the new age, the 21st century Iowa Hawkeye. So definitely keep growing on what we're doing and find ways to keep attacking these defenses that we're going to see in the future.
All right, Dom, plug the socials before we send it home.
We got X, we got TikTok, I literally almost said X and Twitter, but we got X, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that Bleav in Iowa.
So, all right, sounds good. We'll be back later in the week for former Hawkeye Dominique Dafney. I'm Brady Beedon. You've been listening to Bleav in Iowa.